Well, bad meets worse on Sunday in New York when the Arizona Cardinals come to town to take on the New York Jets. The Jets are currently installed as a 4.5-point favorite in this game on BETDAQ. The total has not yet been released. Now, if you've seen the Jets play recently, it might surprise you they're favored by 4.5 over anybody because this team has looked awful. Their last game, a home game, they were beaten 49-19 by their division rival New England. That game, of course, was on Thanksgiving in front of a national TV audience, so the whole world got to see firsthand just how bad the New York Jets are right now. The fact that they're favored by 4.5 in this game tells you a lot about the Arizona Cardinals, and quite frankly, the Jets should be favored in this game. The Cardinals, even though they have the same record as New York, both these teams at 4-7, the Cardinals have lost 7 straight games. And their quarterback situation is unquestionably the worst in the entire NFL. And that's saying something because the Jets' quarterback situation isn't very good either. Mark Sanchez is absolutely awful. And I've been diplomatic about Sanchez this year. I've been hesitant really his entire career. You know, Sanchez has been the weak link of this Jets team throughout his career, but I've been hesitant to really pass judgment on the guy because I know that young quarterbacks in the NFL a lot of times take a few years to develop. I know that Sanchez hasn't been in an easy situation at times, you know, this year with the quarterback controversy, with the lack of weapons he has around him on offense. However, I'm done. I'm done making excuses for this guy. I've seen him play now enough. He is terrible, should not be starting in the NFL. If I were a New York Jets fan, I don't care if it's Tim Tebow with broken ribs. I don't care if it's Greg McElroy. I don't care if it's letting Sean Green take the snaps at quarterback. I think I'd have seen about enough of Mark Sanchez at quarterback, again, if I were a New York Jets fan. But Sanchez is starting again this week, and he's going to be the best quarterback on the field. That's because Arizona is starting rookie Ryan Lindley, the 6th-round pick out of San Diego State. Now, Arizona went to Lindley because John Skelton had been playing so poorly. Skelton, of course, took over for Kevin Kolb when Kolb sustained a rib injury a few weeks ago. Skelton led the NFL in percentage of his passes intercepted. Over the last year, about 5% of John Skelton's passes have been intercepted. Again, that is worse than the NFL. So they put in Ryan Lindley. And what happened? Ryan Lindley last week in his first start in the NFL threw 4 interceptions, 2 of them returned for touchdowns against the St. Louis Rams. So how do you have any confidence in Lindley on the road this week against the New York Jets? Because for all their faults, the Jets do still have a pretty good defense, especially in the secondary, top 10 in the NFL in pass defense. Even though the Jets struggle against the run, which is unusual for a Rex Ryan defense, you know, the Cardinals, they can't run the ball. Beanie Wells is now back healthy, but he rushed for less than 50 yards last week. So look for a defensive struggle here, I guess. You know, if you're going to back the Cardinals here, I guess your only hope, the only argument you can really make is that Arizona's defense is going to dominate this game, make it a low-scoring, ugly game, the type of game where 4.5 points could really come in handy. And that could happen because Arizona does have a good defense. They're 7th in the NFL in total defense. They have an excellent secondary, 4th in the league against the pass. And the Jets, we talked about Sanchez's struggles. I mean, the Jets have a bad offense. They are 28th in the NFL in total offense right now. So might the Arizona Cardinals defense dominate this game, turning it into a low-scoring 13-10 type game? That very well might happen. However, I think a more likely outcome is that the Jets win relatively easily. Ryan Lindley turns the ball over 2 or 3 times. You know, the Jets, they have had success this season. Some of the only games they've looked good, games against Indianapolis and Buffalo, for example, against teams who struggle to stop the run. Arizona, even though they do have a good defense, we mentioned top 10 in total yards allowed per game, they do not have a good front 7 on defense, only 23rd in rush defense. So the Jets are going to try to pound the ball in this game. Are they going to be able to? I'm not sure. I mean, their best running back might have broken ribs. Tim Tebow, I'm not sure if Tim Tebow is not their best threat running the ball. Sean Green has had a couple of good games this season, but by and large, he's looked like Sean Green, a sort of 3.5 yard per carry guy. They're going to have to rely on Sean Green in that rushing attack in this game because, again, if they're going to try to rely on Mark Sanchez and the passing attack against this Arizona secondary, to me, only bad things could come out of that. I think Rex Ryan and Tony Sparano, they probably realize that. I do not look for Sanchez throwing the ball around 40, 45 times. Again, I think the Jets' game plan in this game is going to be very similar to what they did against Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago, where they really pounded the football, only let Sanchez throw the ball 15 or 20 times. Look for a similar game plan out of them on Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. And to me, even though I know the Jets have looked awful, I wouldn't feel comfortable, I guess, laying 4.5 points back in the New York Jets. Still, hard not to lean towards the Jets in this game. How do you back the Arizona Cardinals right now? They've lost 7 straight games. They're a disaster on offense. They're a disaster at the quarterback position. And the New York Jets, as bad as they are, they haven't quit. They're still playing hard. And believe it or not, I know it's unbelievable. You're going to laugh when I say this. The Jets are still in the playoff race. I know that sounds ridiculous, but they're only 2 games out of the final playoff spot in the AFC. And the teams that they're trailing, Pittsburgh, big questions about Pittsburgh right now with no Ben Roethlisberger, no timetable for Ben Roethlisberger's return. Cincinnati, I don't think anybody be surprised. Cincinnati sort of tailed off at the end of the season like they did last season. The Miami Dolphins are a game ahead of the Jets. The Dolphins had lost 3 straight games before last week. And the Jets, their last 5 games are all against teams with losing records. So, not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, the Jets could make a playoff run. I know that sounds laughable. But because of that, I think the Jets will still be playing hard. I don't believe they folded the tent yet. Not saying the Arizona Cardinals have folded the tent. I just believe the Arizona Cardinals are so dysfunctional on offense right now. I mean, they make the Jets look like a functional NFL offense. They're so bad on offense right now. I just cannot see the Arizona Cardinals coming here and getting a road win. I do like the Jets on the money line. The 4.5 points makes me a little uncomfortable. I guess I do lean towards the Jets minus 4.5. But again, the bet I like more in this game is Jets on the money line. The total has not yet been released on BETDAQ. When it is released, I have a feeling I'm going to lead towards the under as long as it's over 35 or 36 points, something like that, because I do expect a low-scoring game here. I think this is one of those games where if you bet the under, your main concern should be turnovers and special team touchdowns. Defensive touchdowns, special teams touchdowns. Both of these defenses can force turnovers. Both of these defenses have shown the ability to score themselves. And Patrick Peterson, Arizona's punt returner, as good as any punt returner in the league. So if you're going to back the under, the only thing you might have to worry about, in my opinion, is turnovers or defensive touchdowns or special teams touchdowns. Other than that, I don't expect either one of these offenses to do a whole lot. I do expect the New York Jets to win an ugly game here at MetLife Stadium on Sunday.